Hey, folks, I don't know if it was showing up or not on my thing, but anyway, how y'all doing, folks? I'm Josh Collins. This is Josh's Busted Skull Bone Show. As I said, I grew up at least part of my childhood pretty close to Skullbone, Tennessee. Went to school in Bradford from fourth grade to all the way through eighth grade. And I've known about Skullbone all my realized life. So that's the reason why I call it Josh's Busted Skullbone, just simply because me open up what's going on up in this mushy brain matter that you don't see, but you know it's there. And you're afraid, man, what is he going to say? What is Josh Collins going to say? Now, some people ain't going to care, and that's all right. But I'm going to tell you, I'm I don't care how you view me. You can view me as a scam artist. You can view me as a just. I don't know how you're going to view these talks. My show, Josh's Busted Skullbone. I don't know. Now I'm over here in California. Reason why, if nothing else, because I want to be. It's not that I don't like Tennessee. It's just, gotta move on sometimes in life and go do something else. And that thing that I did is I started learning about writing for the movies, and man, I have learned some things. And those things, man, I'll tell you what, you ever you ever watched the heard of Christmas Carol? Well, if I was to tell you that Ebenezer Scrooge is essentially in a technical fashion is the hero of the entire story. What in the world are you talking about, Josh? What are you talking about, Josh? An entire story? He's a hero. You won't use a more technical term, protagonist. What was a hero of the story? The hero of the story is the main character of the story. It's what the story, who the story is about. It's about this central character. Now, there can be more than one central character, but this is, but it, that's who the whole story is centered on. That's what the story is about. That is the hero or the protagonist. And I use the word protagonist, the opposite of that is the antagonist. The antagonist is what the story is really the antagonist makes the story, makes the action, is the conflict between this one and that one that makes it have things that are being done. Yeah, a story always involves conflict. You have to always you have to you know take ball games, football, basketball, soccer, whatever. Isn't two teams like going after each other and they're pushing against each other and they're getting in the way of each other? You never you 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 have more people. It's always about somebody getting in the way of your what you're wanting to do. You or even if you take something like a track running, right? Not that I know anything about that, but anyway, you have five people running down a track by foot, and those people, well, they just one's trying to go a little bit faster than the other, right? Than the rest of them. What gets in your way of winning is that this guy or this person, no, well, this person. Well, I guess we'll have to say persons now. We don't even know what sex. So we were supposed to classify as nowadays. I it's amazing in our day how we he or she what are the pronouns and everything. Man, what in the world's going on in this world? I saw this on some things and I was like, what is this about? I know the difference between a man and a woman. I need to somebody say my pronouns are this and my pro. I, I, I can figure out what your pronouns are pretty quick. If you don't feel that you're that way, well, I might get in trouble if I do those sorts of things to anybody, but I can. Anyway, well, we don't want to offend nobody. I don't want to offend nobody. And by the way, everything that I say on here, it's my opinion. It's Josh's opinion. It's not. If I talk about any product or services on here, that doesn't mean that I represent them with my opinions or anything of that sort. You'll have to contact them directly. But I do sort of promote ADT home security. And I do have, I'm going to put this in the chat. I got a phone number for you to call 855 751 3126 and a promo code 240008 AD. There we go. ADT security. So here we go. Yeah, if you call that number 855-751-3126, you get to a little discussion with a professional ADT licensed agent that will explain all your options for protecting your family, and you can spread word to your friends and family about getting an ADT system too. If you do, there's a promo code 240008 and get you $100 gift card after you have a home security system installed into your home. So, as I reiterate, my views I express on my live stream here are mine and not anybody else's. Uh, so don't get on ADT and say, "Hey, what do y'all think about what y'all think about the pronoun thing and everything?" Yeah, they say, "Well, we don't get into politics here." Well, that's what was on Josh's show. But just yeah, don't just leave them. Just say he's got a live stream called Josh's Busted Skullbone. If they should figure out what I'm doing. If you do contact them, so here we go. What should I talk about next? Well, we already discussed writing, that the protagonist is the main character, and everything is all about the that protagonist, and the antagonist is the ones getting in their way from achieving their goals and dreams, or whatever they're trying to do, whatever the protagonist is trying to do. It's centered on their desire. It's centered on the protagonist's desires. And every time somebody, there's one thing in a TV show or movie or play or whatever a character is doing in the story, he or she is doing that to push a because they want something. Now that's interesting. They're not dispassionate, they're passionate about what they're trying to do. And even when somebody dialogues, they're trying to achieve something, they're trying to get a result. They're not talking just to talk. They're not just conveying information. What they're trying to do is move the ball forward for their advantage to their score making, as in a ball game. So even if somebody is talking, they're trying to maneuver things forward in the story. They have an objective. They want to meet that objective. And if they do not meet it, they fail in their goal. Now, as most stories go, the character learns, may end up changing perspectives on things, and end up their desires and goals end up changing through the story. And they may have many different desires and many different goals. They're not limited to, well, I got this one goal. Well, that one goal might lead to other goals, and this goal and that goal. It can get really complicated in a story. And what's their main goal? Well, I think, as I said, stories could get real complicated. Now, it seems as though the best stories do have kind of a main goal in mind, a main goal, and maybe not change too many different times in too many different ways. But then again, there may be a lot of sideline desires in a story. So there may be one through desire, one through goal in a story. Well, so let me. I'm gonna try to share my thing on Facebook while I'm. So just give me a moment here. I'll keep on talking about whatever is popping in my brain. Okay. so so every character in a story has his or her um, goals set. Um, that they have goals, they have desires. So it's not a story is not just a series of things that are happening. It is really about what's going on in the head of the person as things happen and how they're acting in it and reacting to stuff and pushing forward their desires. They have something they're going for. So ultimately, there is no um, it's not just a series of things that are happening. Like I just go up and go to the mailbox and check the mail and go back and eat breakfast and no, it's really something really happening. Now it doesn't have to be anything that important. Maybe you can make a story of just a person trying to get their mail out of their mailbox, and you could actually present a whole bunch of obstacles before that person can get to their mail. You could write a story like that. You could keep on pushing. The some the telephone rings. Uh, they're cooking breakfast and they're something burns up and uh, everything burns up and has to call the fire department. And all they're trying to do is they're trying to get to their mailbox to get their mail. That could be the story. And all this stuff just starts happening. And I got to deal with this and I got to deal with that, and they never think about going to the mailbox. But all they want to do is get their mail today, and they don't get around to it because all this other stuff is jumping in the way and getting in the way. It's really how what a story is. It's more of I got to get to this goal and I got to go through all this, and there's a bunch of things that because the character makes the wrong decisions here, it kind of leads to all this other stuff happening that gets in the way of getting to the goal. But they think they're going that direction, but they're really not. They're going away from that direction. And that's what makes it a story. A story is not about a character getting everything going right for him. Really, a story is about a character wanting something but makes all the wrong decisions that leads to all this other stuff happening that gets in the way of getting to their goal. So it makes it harder and harder and harder and harder. So that's what makes it interesting. It's not, well, we were taking the right steps the right way. No, 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 no. It's about taking all the wrong steps and keep on stepping. And you just keep on going and going and going. And it seems like keep on going the wrong way. But there's still this goal here. We got to make this goal. That's really how a story goes. It's not ever about, a good story is not about, well, I'm going to do this, this, and this. You ever heard of, well, he lives a storied existence? Well, it means lives a troubled existence. It's full of trouble. You don't get to do what you want when you want, and you had to deal with all this other stuff. And you're trying to get to your goal, and you can't get to it. It's just, it ain't within reach. Now, I know nobody watches TV shows to figure out how terrible even an imaginary character's life is going to be. Yes, you do. That's exactly what you want. That's entertainment. It's all about, this guy can't get to where he's going, and he's going all the wrong direction and the wrong way, and he ain't going to get there. That's what a good story has in it. It's all about going the wrong way for a while and getting deeper and deeper in the wrong way. It's like, oh man, I can't get what I want. I know some of you who ever watch this say, Josh, well, you do live a storied existence. I can think of all kinds of trouble. Okay, that's fair enough. You even doing this live stream, you got 0 comments, 0 this, 0 that, and you're trying to promote something you can't even promote on here. I know it kind of sucks. So, anyway, I'm living the storied existence. Are you living a storied existence? Or is everything you get to do, you have the way you want, how you want, and the troubles you have are now, hold it. Everybody lives a storied existence if you really think about it. Do you ever get everything the way you want, how you want, in the manner that you figured? Well, I don't know anybody that does that, has had that. And if you do, great, wonderful for you. Your life's not that entertaining, though. Your life ain't it, if it's all bed of roses, everything gets the way you want. Well, that's nice. But even if you're successful, usually you have to go the wrong way and just proceed forward. In some way, you overcome whatever you got to overcome, but usually you're going the wrong way. You got, oh, what do I do here and here and here? So even if you do make a success of yourself, you still usually have to go through something here and there and everywhere else, and you just proceed forward. You just keep on going and going and going and going, and finally you make the corrections you need to make to get to what you really need to get to, or what you think you should be getting to in your life. So, what makes a hero? Um, you just have desire and you go for something. That's about it. Hitler was a hero. I guess so. Uh, now, you may not get to your goal. It may lead in tragedy. Tragedy is when a tragic story, and I'm talking more of in a more technical sense, is when you do get your goals, you do meet your goals real quick. You don't have you deal with obstacles, but you can overcome them pretty rapidly, and you seem to be making the right steps the right way, and you get everything you're wanting, but you're sort of getting it too soon. You're getting it the way you want, and then you get to a certain height of winning. You kind of, for some reason, think, oh, I don't have to struggle so much. And because I don't have to struggle so much, then you start making maybe lazy decisions, or not so thoughtful decisions, and things start actually going down, spiral downward. I think one of the greatest tragedies that are written as a Shakespeare and Romeo and Juliet. Romeo and Juliet, they had everything that they wanted. They got to be in each other's arms and even be married. For very very short time, but they got that. They got that. They had that, and so when they got that, then I guess they were at ease, and then started making wrong decisions. They won. They both Romeo won his love, Juliet, but too early in the story. That's when you know you have a tragedy. Is that when the story? It seems as though half the story is finished, and they're getting everything that they wanted to begin with. That's when you know it's not exactly going to go the way it's probably. Now you can write stories any way you want, but it seems like the proper tragic form is that a tragic form is when you're winning in the middle and you lose in the end. And the reason why you have a beginning is that you have to establish what the desire is and what the goals are. You have a middle, to kind of figure out whether is this going to be the very which direction are we going from the middle, because it seems as though you're in the regular world at a certain point, and then you go into the kind of abnormal world where you really had to make these quite odd decisions. In most stories, you actually are making these wrong decisions that you get, and you get to be taught by experience. But if you don't have that experienced teacher and you've made the right sort of decisions to get to your goal, then you don't have the experience directing you to what you should be directed to get to what you need to really get to. So you are not taught what you need to be taught when you're winning so easily, so triumphantly through the first part of the story. And that's the way I understand story. And then this goes with novel writing, television, movies, plays. What it doesn't really matter the format of storytelling. It always it seems as though everything's written sort of like this. Not holistically. You see these patterns in stories, and when you understand these patterns, you can kind of use it as a kind of a framework to write your own, to construct your own stories. Yeah, you can do your own stories your own way when you understand. You need the bones of the structure. Now you don't have to use the entire structure necessarily, but I will tell you it probably gives you more of what you need to construct a well. And when you don't hit those beats and that structure right, people can tell that you don't know what a story is. You don't know how to engage the audience. There's a certain way that everybody is hitting the same thing all the time. So they're hitting the same sort of things. The characters, the situation might be different, but there's a similarity, and you can't really all the time go away from that structure, because entertainment is just like anything. There's certain things that need to stay the same. What you do as a writer, if you're writing a story, is that you're just putting on the dressing. You're just putting on the outward uh, look of the story, but ultimately you don't really do anything different if what you're trying to do is engage audiences emotionally. We already know what it we already know what it takes to uh, trigger the emotions of audiences, to get them to cry, to laugh, to do the these things aren't un, people aren't unaware of these things. So what you're doing is just bringing in some different things. You got to put in that stuff that will trigger them, but it can be different things. But the basic structure to cause emotional reaction of the audiences, and that's the reason why you write stories. That's the reason why you do entertainment, is because you are trying to elicit that emotion from the audience to get them to exercise their emotions. See, a lot of people, and this is I understand what people are saying in religious circle, in Christians that say, well, we shouldn't get into entertainment because it's leading us to wrong thinking, wrong emphases, and everything else. I think it's almost like you're trying you're just exercising your emotions like you're going to a gym. Now you could go to uh Holy Cross gym where everything is just absolutely Christian all the time. And I guess that's fine. There's entertainment there. You can now. There's enough Christian entertainment that you could just watch that kind of entertainment, and I guess you could do it that way. However, yeah, I don't when I eat food, I don't worry too much who uh, prepared the food, that we have. Don't worry whether they're believers or whatever and their intentions in doing the work it took to get the food to me. I don't worry about that. In the same way with entertainment. Now, am I saying that all entertainment should be thrown, that you can watch just anything? No, I'm not saying that either. I'm against. You shouldn't watch porn. You probably there's probably some level of violence. You shouldn't be uh, taking in and just being all enamored by it. It probably is. Now I don't know where those lines are necessarily, but I'm sure there is, and I guess it's just easiest thing is maybe watch less rated R films versus PG and PG-13 films might be a somewhat helpful guide to knowing what you can consume in entertainment. But um, well, let's go again. ADT Home Security, $100 gift card if you get a home security system. Call 855-751-3126. Promo code 240000 That's three zeros after the 24 and before the 8. And get $100 gift card if you or your or a family member get a home security system installed. But they will educate you on your options if you call that number. And I will get you a gift myself if you use the promo code. I will get you something myself for you, your family, also any friends or family. Also, I'll get them a gift too. You have to give me their name and number, and I'll get that to them. Um, after they, if they were to get a home security. Now, if you call the number, you're under no obligation to do anything, but you will be informed and educated of your options concerning what can be installed in your home and how it can be installed and what kind of protection you can get with AT&T Home Security, which is one of the oldest, which is the oldest security company in the world, home security company in the world. So I think they may know what they're doing when they put a home security system in your home. So, mm, let's see if I got anybody on Facebook looking at my thing. So, now said, as I said, I am trained in public auctioneering from Nashville Auction School, but I am not a professional auctioneer in well, we'll just leave it. I'm not a professional auctioneer at this point. I might have to jump through some hoops to get to that point. But I have been had an apprentice license in Kentucky and Tennessee at times in the past, and did get a Missouri auctioneer's license. So I do have um, some things in that regard. So now what? I can't sell your 40,000 square foot mansion at absolute no reserve auction for 45 million now, for 50 million now, 55 million now, 60 million, $60 million, 60 million now, $65 million. Look at the $65 million, $65 million, $65 million, $65 million, $65 million, $65 million now, 65 $65 million, $65 million, 65 million, 65 million, $65 million, $65 million, now 70 million, now $75 million. Let's see now. See if I'm on Facebook here. $65 million, $65 million. $65 million. So I'm looking at my thing. I'm still alive and in charge. I looked at my Facebook. I saw me sleeping there. So anyway, I did fall asleep last night. I may fall asleep this morning. I don't know. Anyway, I'll talk your ear off. Anybody wants to jump in on this? You know, I got chat thing in YouTube, and uh, I'm checking the Facebook just to see if there's any sort of activity going on right now. It doesn't look like it, but 45 million, 45 million, $50 million, $50 million. So I can't sell your 50,000 square foot house and your 500 acres of land at absolute unreserved auction. Who would sell their unreserved? I said the reason why you sell your people will jump in and show up and get ready to bid because they ain't worried about what they know somebody's going to buy that house at some sort of price. They ain't worried about you holding it back from selling. If you are the owner, if you are the owner and they know that you got reserve on it, they might not even show up for the auction, and that's because they'll say, well, they'll think it's worth this much, and I don't know what they think I has to spend on it or whatever. So I'm not going to go to the auction. So you want everybody showing up at your auction. If you do sufficient advertising and everything, you probably do just as good with particularly real estate. Uh, there's different. There are auction firms. You don't have to wait 6 months, a year and a half, or however long it takes for certain pieces of real estate to sell. They never know exactly what to set the price for. Well, if the best thing is not have a price and just put it up for auction. If there's not too much debt on it, even if you set some sort of real low ball reserve on it, it can sell for aught. Now, if it's got too much owed on it and everything, that might be a situation where selling a public auction might not be the appropriate thing for the particular property. You have to just wait around until somebody's willing to um, pay pay enough for the debts paid off on it or something. But if there's not a whole lot owed or there's nothing owed, then selling real estate at auction is actually an easy way to sell your real estate. So because you sell when you want to sell, you're not dependent on when buyers want to buy. You know what I'm saying? You make a unilateral decision when the sales transaction is going to occur. And particularly if you're just selling absolute, then you know when it's going to sell. Particularly in real estate. I mean, selling candy bar, selling a paper fan. Well, maybe somebody might not bid on it, but you got a house sell, there's somebody going to bid, and there'd probably be a lot more people will bid on it. Other thing I suggest, if you're going to sell real estate at auction, I would recommend using a firm that would not be afraid to advertise a pre-auction price that that price is favorable to your interest and even the auction company's interest. So that's why I'd say if you're selling real estate, and this goes for residential and commercial. Um, one thing you don't set the price. If I'm going to advertise any price, it's going to be a price that, you know, I'm having a super, 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 super wonderful day uh, at auction. I mean, the prices goes way more than you'd ever expect. Set the pre-auction price at that kind of price. How dare I say even five times reasonable market appraisal or something. I don't know. Just make it the kind of price you want to set, and then get the auctioneer to say whatever that price is. Well, right before it's auctioned, to even say, well, we before we offer open up bidding, we still can sell this property apart from it being auctioned. And here's the price for it right now. And let's just say the house is the pre-auction price is $5 million. $5 million. The auctioneer would say, well, it may sell for less than 5 million. It may sell for more than 5 million, or it might sell for a whole lot more than 5 million. If you go ahead and pay 5 million, agree to 5 million right now before even bidding is has the possibility of being opened up, you won't have to worry about selling for a whole lot more because we're going to keep on taking bids until people quit bidding after a reasonable amount of time. So that's the way I would do if I have a piece of real estate that I needed, that I'd rather sell it than hold on to it for some reason. I would advertise a pre-auction price. I had 7.5 acres of land, and that's the one thing I would have done a little bit differently. I'd still sold that land to Absolute. I didn't owe nothing on it, so I could sell Absolute and not worry about it and just get whatever I was going to get out of it. But I would put, I think the total amount, the final bid was $12,000. Had buyer's premium, 10%, so it was like $13,200. It was sold in Gleason, Tennessee, and it sold to the church that was next door to the property. So if I had to do it over, I would set like a $75,000 pre-auction price on it, for instance. And maybe that price was too high. I don't know, but I would put that kind of price on it as an option for people to buy if they wanted to buy before it goes for auction. I would put in the advertisement, hey, buy this property, buy this property. Uh, this property can sell for less than this price. It could sell more than 75,000, or it could sell for a lot more if it goes to auction. There's no limit to what the price can go to if it goes uh, bidding does occur. If bidding is opened up and does occur, So you can buy it for. I would have done that, and then maybe I gotten a bit more out of the property when I sold it back in was it 2005. I think this year that property. So my father died in 2003, I believe, and then uh, when I finally had official title to the property, I got Marvin Alexander in Martin, Tennessee, to do it. But the one thing I would have done, I would have had him advertise a $75,000 pre-auction price. Other than that, I don't know. I don't think I've done anything different other than maybe encourage him. Hey, I need you to talk about my property during your other auctions or something like that. I think that's about the only thing I would have done in his case. But anyway, but I only got about 13,000. But I think if I advertise the pre-auction price, that now that's just my theory on it. I think it would actually. I don't think it'd scare people off, particularly if they see absolute unreserved auction. They would say, "Okay, he's just trying to drive up the price, but he's the property's going to sell." So I'd combine have absolute auction. Now you could have it with reserve too, and with the pre-auction price, but that might scare people off if they think that the property might not sell. But if they think it's going to transfer from the current owner to somebody who is not the owner right now, then they might go ahead and show up at the auction. Even if they did see that 75, they're just like, yeah, it ain't worth that much or whatever. Or they might just show up and just see what happens and say, I wonder. If they see it works, they might, oh, that auction company's smart. I think I'm going to use an auction company to sell my real estate. So yes, it's like anything. You don't risk. You never know for sure. And because somebody thinks some certain things are certain ways, you could try and go a certain way on things. So yeah. So that's my theory on selling real estate. Now, concerning this has to do with financial issues, period. Now, I feel too much like Henry Ford in 1893, and what I'm going to say next, if it's not economic revolution, I don't know, and maybe I'm patting myself on the back too much here, but one thing about auction selling is that the seller gets to choose when things sell. Now that seems like just a little point. Okay, so what's your point, Josh? If you could sell, if you could go buy things and turn around a week later and sell those things at auction, and keep on doing those kinds of buy and sell, then sell at auction. And if you could, and the only reason why you keep on doing that is if you're making a profit. Then there's no reason to go buy something and sell it the next week without you making a profit on it. There's no reason But if you are doing that, and if the seller using auction selling is using it because they get determined when the sales transactions on X amount of merchandise gets sold, then you could have rapid wealth creation from that for individuals, families, various types of organizations, for profit businesses, and even government entities. Anybody or any organization, whatever, that deals with budgets and tangible assets, deals with money, they may have a way to rapidly take whatever they do have and in a expedited way exponentially grow those assets with auction selling. I don't make a light of that. I think the possibilities are um, just earth or would change how economics is done on the planet. If a lot of things were being sold when somebody needs to sell something in order to get ahead financially and have what they want when they want, well, auctions sell merchandise when you want, how you want, at the frequency you want. And as long as you can buy and then sell it at auction and make a profit, you got to buy it for X amount and then you got to sell it for X amount plus more. You could have rapid, even exponential growth. And that could be for the individual, that could be for families, it could be various organizations, for profit businesses. It may, if this idea was actually implemented, businesses might not even have to worry about their own profits. Businesses could go do their business, do whatever they're good at doing, because they can take a small amount of their assets to start selling stuff at auction, and then that out of that money they can fund whatever they need to fund to do their business. So they're not worried about money. They're not worried about borrowing money. They don't need to borrow, you know, a whole lot of money because they're getting their money elsewhere. And I'm talking about for profit businesses. So they can do their. I'm not saying that they don't make money off their business, but ultimately, if all they're trying to do is get more money, uh, which I guess is the reason why they can focus in on doing their business because they're not worried about the money aspect of it, and that seems strange. But I want to tell you something. Everybody, if everybody were given $5 billion, you know, and you got 60, 70, 80 years to live on this planet or whatever, what are you going to do with yourself? If you were born with a silver spoon in your mouth, or you acquired so much wealth all pretty rapidly, then what are you going to do with yourself? We do what you want to. Well, if you're in a certain business that you enjoy, well, keep up with it. You just tapped in a way that you could take care of your business's expenses, your own personal expenses, and then you can do what you want with your life or with your organization. I said various types of organization, which might include charitable organizations. You're involved with a charity, go with it. Go do the work of that charity. You don't have to worry about your money aspect because auction selling has the implementation of expedited exponential asset accumulation via auction. Auction selling has changed your life. Now, I said this may be entertaining. Is that what this is? Entertainment. Some people are going to consider it this way, and some people are going to say, "What I'm saying here is just pure comedy." Whatever. But think through the implications of what I'm saying. Auction is when you can sell when you want to sell, and the buyer doesn't choose, doesn't make the decision when the sales transaction. They have to either show up. The terms are already set. You either show up to bid on it or you don't get it. You don't get to buy it and have what's being sold. You know, you, you don't have to persuade the buyer to agree to when the sales transaction is going to be. You just say, "Hey, we're going to have an auction here at this time. If you want to buy it, make a bid on it. You can have it." The sellers in control, and that's what we really need. We need people where they can make a profit when they want to make it. Yeah, I'm not going to let down and say that this is not that important. If I don't do it, who else is? I don't know anybody. I'm going to have to promote this just because I've thought about it and realized the implication, and I have to push for it. Of course, this is my opinion, but I think it's a very educated opinion of the auction selling method. And I'd recommend you go to an auctioneer and show him or her my video and just say, "What do you think of this?" And use that auctioneer's professional services to implement my ideas. That's why I think I'm not saying hire me because I'm not a professional auctioneer. I've been professionally trained, but there's a difference in that. But I'm saying go to an auction company, share these ideas with people, auction company, and go and if you want to change your life financially, if you want to try it, go for it. I think it will be the thing that will take you ahead in life, at least from a financial standpoint. So take some of your financial stuff and you hold it and you start doing auctions and start not just do one auction, but start doing a lot of auctions. You take the profit, buy more and more and more and more and more and more stuff, exponentially expand it. And that's how you might can get really rich yourself, and you teach others, and maybe just with the auctions, give them the opportunity to be investing consigners. with their money. They could start out as little as a few $100, $500 or something. Well, that would include a lot of people if they could do it for that low. Now, wouldn't it? A lot of people could get ahead in ways that they didn't expect to get ahead before. And we won't have to go into debt over finances and owe this and owe that. And who wants to owe this and owe that and not have any money to do anything? And if you want money, you have to go borrow it. Who needs that hassle? So, in my opinion, we have I've proposed an economic revolution for society through auction selling, and it's not a it's now I will say I promote would say live auctions is the way to go. The reason why I'd say live auctions is the way to go is because it's sure more entertaining. And what we need as people, we don't need to be apart from each other. We need to be able to intermingle with our neighbors some way, and sometimes you don't want to go right to their door and go see what their underwear looks like. Okay, but you might want to be out there some way with them and meet people um, in various ways. I know there's other ways of doing it. You can go ball games or whatever, but but I would say that you need and shopping should be so much more interesting if it's entertaining shopping. I think a good auction, a live auction, can be very entertaining because all sorts of things can be said by the auctioneer, by the what's called the ringman or the bid assistants or bid spotters, and the staff and everything. And if they understand that auctions are entertained, they're instructed to entertain and trained to entertain, then they can make the shopping experience. Bring in another word: shopping, entertainment, shopping, auctions. And if you want to, everything I was saying about pre-auction pricing, make all your auctions where they're supporting some charitable cause, then that pre-auction pricing can really work, and the prices of things can go so you so they're paying for two things. They're kind of donating to charitable causes. It's an entertaining aspect. So what are you paying for? You're paying for entertainment, and it's auctions, and it's shopping because you're looking at stuff, you're examining it, and you're deciding whether you're going to buy it or not. So you're in the mode of shopping while being entertained. While if you do buy, you're helping a charitable cause, and you're sort of paying for entertainment in the same vein. So I do appreciate live auctions. And online auctions just seem blah to me. I don't like the idea of a live auction. If I was have an auction gallery, that auction gallery would be uh, that auction gallery. People within the local area would have to come to the auction gallery because if somebody does online auction, probably I require them to do Zoom call bidding if they're outside there and give an address outside the local area. So we'll still have to see their faces just like you see my face and everything. So everybody in the local area has to show up in person. Those outside the local area, they they still have to participate in a live way, like a Zoom call. So yes, yes. Oh, I'm going to see if anybody's looking at my Facebook. I think I got. Okay, I looked at it. I saw I had 50 people sort of view this live thing. I'm going to do this at least once a day, if not even up to 3 times a day. I don't know. I'm just, of course, I'm go back to ADT, that 855-751-3126, and promo code 240008. If you want to protect your family and protect have your friends and family protected in their homes, call this 800, that number I just 855-751-3126, promo code 240008. That promo code gets you $100 gift card if you were to get the system installed in your home. And same goes for your friends and family. And when you do so, send me a text message with your name and everything, and I'll get you a little gift if you did get ADT. Of course, if you call that number, you are under no obligation to get an ADT system. It's just you're at least informing yourself of your options if do or do not. It's with ADT Home Security. So that's my go-to. That's uh, again, I'll give you a little gift. So call that number, and we will help you out if you're help protect your family, and help spread the word to your friends and family. Help them protect their homes too with ADT Home Security. Okay. And of course, the views I express are mine, and uh, can it's not necessarily the views of ADT Home Security. I am just simply expressing my personal thoughts, my own opinions about things, and just talking about them. If anybody wants to participate in my show, send me a message on Messenger, or put some in the either on YouTube or Facebook. Say, hey, I want to be on your show. We'll talk about it and see if we can get you on or something. So, what we go to next? Music. Now, okay, let's justify my listening things like Metallica. I don't know if I can justify it. I I grew up. I remember the first time I listened to. I was in this shelter place, after my mother left my father, and we stayed at this little house that is supposed to be for women that suffered abuse or something like that. And there's another woman with her two children. One of her children had a Metallica Master of Puppets tape. And I kind of listened to that. I heard some of that music. It was okay, and now I kind of think more of it now, but what got my real attention, that place had MTV, and one time they played uh, the song "One" off Metallica's "Injustice for All" album, and this was like right before their Black album, with songs like Aaron Sandman, Unforgiven, all that stuff came out. It was like right before. It was like, yeah, I listened, saw that video. I must have thought to myself, where has this been the last 14 years of my life? And I was 14 years. I must have thought something like that. I remember it just blew my mind when I saw this video. It is these long haired, freaky looking dudes jamming in this warehouse thing. It's all black and white. And there's clips of this old movie with this guy with a thing over his face. And the song starts off slow and melodic, but you could tell it was really eerie too. And ultimately, the song gets a little bit faster and faster and faster. It goes in full thrash metal mode by the end of it, and he's singing real fast and loud, and they're playing the guitars and the drums sound wonderful. I now they complain about Lars Ulrich's drumming. I think that the song "One" I think is his best drumming or something. I don't know. I think it's just awesome. At least, but I guess that's where I fell in love with Metallica. Now, why in the world would you fall in love about a song about somebody becoming a vegetable through acts of war? Well, if I was to kind of justify it, I would say, do we not ever deal with negative stuff in life? Do we not deal with it? Do we not have to handle it? Do we not have to, you know, I guess when I listen, even going through puberty, I considered music and sexual drives almost different worlds, even in my teenage years. And they didn't commingle. They were in different spots in my existence, and I didn't I didn't really commingle them at all. Particularly when I got into something other than maybe with Guns N' Roses. But what I liked about Guns N' Roses, they just sounded so different from anything else that was considered hard rock. And I loved Axl's voice, not because it was pretty, but because it was just so unique. So in your face kind of vocals. So basically, I only like Guns. I really only like Guns N' Roses. Maybe some Kiss. Didn't really like Motley Crue. Didn't really like Poison. Like Skid Row a little bit, just a little bit. Kind of like them, but yeah, this is sort of more on the Poison side of things. Sort of. 18 in a life. I don't know. So I listen. Guns N' Roses and Metallica became a big thing in my life, particularly at that time. Also, I was watching the video that You Could Be Mine that was shot with Arnold Schwarzenegger in the Terminator 2 movie. I don't know how many times I saw that video. Uh, and so I would say that I separate music from sexual things or romance or anything like that. But Guns N' Roses, not so much. But then again, I really didn't listen for the message per se in Guns N' Roses. I was really listening because of it. Just sounded really, really well done rock music. I didn't really care about the sexual messaging one way or another. It's just even with a song like "Welcome to the Jungle," I understand. Actually, I think a song like "Welcome Jungle." I think Alice Cooper said he wished he had wrote that song. Now that's pretty interesting. Um, and if you listen to Use Your Illusion, I think two maybe this or is it one of the songs they have Alice Cooper sing doing vocals on part of, at least on the record anyway. If they do In the Garden, I think is. Um, so Alice, but he said he wished he wrote that song "Welcome to the Jungle." And now that I really look at the messaging of it. It's almost a warning to the insanity of drugs, sex, and rock and roll. It's funny. It's funny that a band like Guns N' Roses, although they probably don't want to sit there and discuss morality or anything, it seems as though their song actually showcases the immorality, maybe to an immoral stance in a certain way. But then again, you look at that, you look at the messaging of Guns N' Roses um, song, "Welcome Jungle." You're like, that's dead on target. How things go, how even almost lethal some of our wrong decisions about sex and drugs and all this stuff can be, and it just how wild things can get. And you could say, well, they're celebrating it. I say, yeah, but they're also pointing out how destructive it is too. So it's like Guns N' Roses knows it's a pile of crap. What they're kind of in the middle of, but there may be a way forward And yeah, maybe we're celebrating somewhat, but yeah, this stuff ain't that good. That's the way I look at the song "Welcome Jungle." It, it's pretty destructive. And you take the song of Paradise City. Now, I think that song, at least watched from the way the lyrics are, it, it's pretty. It's a song of envy of those that are have things that the way they want, and you want it, but you're probably not going to get there, and you're ticked off about it. Which which is so in a way, maybe Paradise City is the more evil song because it's almost sort of justifying the envy of people who have it better. It's almost, it really seems to be justifying it. So that might be the more evil song of Guns N' Roses. Actually, I guess Paradise City, um, until November Rain came out, was probably their very top song. So that might be celebrating envy and justifying it, and not really um, casting it aside, but saying, "Hey, this is just you're justified in thinking this way." So I think Paradise City may be the more evil song, even though it doesn't. That song doesn't really deal with sexual things so much. It probably is the more nefarious type song. And then Sweet Child of Mine. Well, it's basically just an expression of romantic love. I mean, it's not it's not anything wrong with it or per se or right with it. It's just it's a poem. It is a type of a poetic expression of romance, I suppose. Um, there's nothing one way or another about it that's particularly wrong, I guess. so so you really would those are three singles. Now they got some other songs, at least Appetite for Destruction, such as Mr. Brownstone. I think Mr. Brownstone is more like in the line of Welcome to the Jungle. It, I guess it has to do with drug use, but it's not. And it's actually less celebratory than even Welcome to the Jungle. So Mr. Brownstone might actually be a better example of representing how rock and roll could represent the evils of things in a more appropriate manner. Um, Not that any of these songs are quite appropriate or anything. They're just they're entertainers, and and say as Rocket Queen. Well, Rocket Queen, yeah, it's about the erotic passions flaring up in somebody, but ultimately those passions are real and everything, and you may be overcome with them in the wrong way and everything, but ultimately it's about two people coming together around ultimately. And that's what the important thing is. It's not all about the sax, it's about uh, these two people coming together. So, in that song, I think it really is uh, realistic because sex, romance, and all that stuff does lead to, you have all this, but you have to settle down and say, well, why do I need to be with this person? Why do I not need to be all alone? You know, even sex is important. It's about connection. So I've learned from Guns N' Roses, wrong things and right things. But they're about the only band that I really cared for, particularly in my teenage years. Um, uh, they're about the only band I really cared for that would be considered rock music. The rest of the stuff I cared for fall under the category of metal or maybe some alternative metal, thrash metal. You could call this metal music. Now, actually, Guns N' Roses is also considered metal too. You know, so these categories can get kind of tight. It seems as though from like the time of Black Sabbath on, but then again, even before that, with Jimi Hendrix and the Who and different, you had this heavy distorted guitar sound that has driven music ever since the 60s, that usually has kind of veered off in two different, you look at Sabbath, Black Sabbath as heavy metal. You look at Led Zeppelin as hard rock. And it seems everybody comes under one of these two categories. But there's some things that are sort of in the middle. I'd say Guns N' Roses is a lot closer to Zeppelin and less close to Black Sabbath. Metallica is more in line with Black Sabbath. But then again, there's some things, particularly with Load and Reload, and kind of more hard rockish. Although they're called Metallica, sort of more hard rockish. So, again, let's go back to ADT. Call 855-751-3126 with promo code 240008. ADT Home Security if you want to protect your family from potential invasions and help your friends and neighbors protect themselves too from criminal elements. You get $100 gift card after you get home security installed. I will give you a special gift after you have that security system installed. I'll give you a special gift, and if your friends and family have installed into their homes too. I'll get you a special gift. You have to give me your name and their if they got a system, ATT system too. So, as I said before, all my opinions are mine and not necessarily ADT's. Don't blame ADT if you don't like what I got to say. So here we go. So in my teenage years, I liked Metallica. I liked Guns N' Roses. I liked Alice in Chains. Now their song, probably the first song I heard of theirs, probably their most blasphemous, but I like their sound. Um, yeah, I heard things like Rooster, and I was like, whoa, these these guys are. Yeah, I think I got a couple or two or three of their albums, and every freaking song just has that sound, that eerie heavy metal, alternative metal sound, and Layton Staley's voice with um, the guitarist's voice. This harmony that is just so eerie and scary and just blew my mind. Now, the one song "Wood," I kind of liked it, but I didn't like it that much. I liked some of their other songs better, like "Rooster." It's just they blew my mind. And it's not that I like alternative. It's just like I like what I like. If I was to have my own parody band, I would do songs of these heavy metal, alternative metal, hard rock that I liked. In fact, I have written some stuff. I did "Welcome to the Jungle." I wrote into what I call a poet revision called "Welcome to the Deli." Then I did Paradise City into Poetry City. I did um, November Rain into November Wings. Um, so what else did I do? Yeah, the first one I did was actually Rocket Queen. I changed into Chicken Queen, and that's about this gal that keeps on coming to a chicken place and is trying to flirt, trying to win over the guy who's selling her chicken, and he finally informs her that all I wanted to do is sell you some really delicious fried chicken, and breaks her heart that way. uh, and I think I had "Don't Cry." I had "Don't Don't" what was "Don't Pack" or something. I don't know. Uh, "Don't Balk." Yeah, "Don't Balk." Um, so so if I was, I'd call the band Gizzards and Rotisseries, and then do like a third to half the songs on stage. I would do um, Guns N' Roses parodies. Then I'd do like Metallica. Of course, Metallica, I would had to do Master of Puppets. I'd do Master of Crumpets, and that would be about somebody turning 18, having to start doing a job in a crumpet factory in London, and all the downsides of that you could imagine. And called Master of Crumpets. And then I don't know. I'd have to do like a one Megadeth song and do a Slayer south of, I thought south of Philadelphia or something. Um, Something about the capital of the United States going from Philadelphia, and then ultimately going south into Washington D.C. South of Washington D.C. actually turns into hell. Call it south of, instead of south of heaven, call it south of Philadelphia. Do a Slayer song like that, and then do I'd come up with some other stuff too. Um, Probably do like a 3 hour show of do about hour and a half, an hour or so of Guns N' Roses songs because I love Guns N' Roses. I had to just love Guns N' Roses so much because I didn't really like all the other hard rock bands like Poison and um, I like metal, thrash metal, some alternative metal. Yeah, I like Nirvana, sorta. Uh, yeah, I know I saw one stage. If you've ever tried to watch Nirvana up on stage, man, live show from video or something, they were nothing but pure the rockers, and I guess what makes alternative music alternative is it it just turns into lyrics that are so mysterious that when you hear them, you're never really sure what they're talking about. Even if you're just staring right at the lyrics and trying to decipher it. So, well, these are the lyrics. What's being communicated here? It's Now there's such a thing as on the nose writing, and anything that's any good is not going to be on the nose writing. Even Metallica song like Master of Puppets is not on the nose writing, where it's not saying directly about drugs. He says something about chopping your breakfast on a mirror. Okay, that's not so direct. And if you look at the songs of Master of Puppets, you know this is applicable in a lot of ways. It's anything that kind of sucks you in and draws you in, kind of is destroying your life. As a master, you're the puppet. You can draw the implication. Now, I would say Metallica would even say that. Yeah, yeah, sure, yeah. It's more to do with drugs, but the implications has broad implication. You know, but we can derive that just from the lyrics. But alternative music, a lot of the lyrics just tend to. It's a lot harder to get to what is trying to be communicated. It's and it's not that they're not communicating something. It's just the path to getting to the end of it, end of what's being conveyed is a lot longer than, say, like a Metallica song. And I would say even Guns N' Roses with their song Paradise City might be closer to what that alternative type of lyric writing is. Um, Paradise City is a little bit harder to decipher one, but it's not that hard. But the the lyrics like smells like Teen Spirit. Now, ultimately, I guess that's ultimately about sexual stuff, some way, you know, obviously. But what is it exactly saying? I don't know. Kind of millipede it was. you know, I, it's like it's getting way away from. You have to go. You have to make these long connections to figure out what they're trying to really say. So you get enmeshed into if you're trying to figure it, you'll be there a long time to figure out the alternative music lyrics. It's just you're just so far away from the connections, the means there, but it's not there the way that, and to a certain extent, people are going to not come to the right meaning that they meant for it. And to a certain degree, that's what the artist intends. They don't necessarily intend that you actually come to a certain precise meaning. Sometimes I think to a certain degree that's they're not intending there. That they know it could mean this or that or anything else. Okay, uh, and they're fine with that. They and they have a broader audience of people thinking, well, he's meaning this, was not to mean that, and whatever. So when they have a concert, the people that are showing up there are just almost so different from their thinking what the freaking song means. It's just total chaos. It's not like everybody's on the same page of what this song that they're performing is even about. So it's just yeah, that's one of the things about that I find so interesting about alternative music like Nirvana, like Soundgarden, even Stone Temple Pilots. Although I don't think they were out of the Seattle scene, but you look at their lyrics, or yeah, they don't exactly follow some sort of easy, understandable meaning. And that's that. Stone Temple Pilots definitely, I think, were excellent, excellent musicians. But the thing about they had to put out really good audience affecting music, even if they're going to have these very ambiguous, idiomatic lyrics that is hard to understand, that nobody really understands what's being conveyed, or if they do, they ain't telling you. I don't know. One of the things about the like videos and podcasts and everything on YouTube and everything, you see these reaction videos, but one thing they never even they don't ever try to figure out what the lyrics are. I don't believe. If it's something like "Smells Like Teen Spirit," they don't try to fool with trying to interpret that. Even in these reaction videos I've seen, that now you may prove me wrong on that or something, but anyway, yeah, I'm coming up about 2 hours. I don't know. I may sure down. Again, ADT Home Security. Call 855-751-3126. Promo code 240008. Tell your friends and family about it too, and get a $100 gift card with that promo code. And I'll get you something myself if you do get a home security system, and any of your friends and family that get a home security system. Um, I'm going to do these videos at least, as I say, at least daily, if not even 2 or 3 times a day, maybe. I'm going to promote ADT home security on them, and as I get better at all this, maybe my content won't be so scattered or whatever. As I try to deal with everything on here. So I'll sign out by let's do a little auctioneering again. Not to toot my own horn or pat myself on my back, but ultimately God has given me the ideas, particularly on the using auction selling for economic empowerment um, in ways that I don't think humanity has attempted to apply in the way that could be applied to them. So, anyway. Oh, 4,500 quarter, 4,500 and quarter, now I have, now 4,700, 4,700, 4,775, I'm 47 and a half, now 4,75, 400, 4,000. 45, 75, now 45, 75, 45, 75, 47 and a half, 47 and a half. 4,700 and a half, 4,700 and a half, 4,575. I'm at 4,750 now, 4,600, 4,600. Folks, thank y'all. Anybody who did listen, particularly thank you if you do call the ADT, because that is what I'm going for. I hope I entertain you. I hope I do. I hope I do. If I don't, well, tell me how I can entertain you better and help you or whatever you're needing. Okay, thank y'all. I got 44, 46, 47, 48, now 49, now 50, now 51, now 53, now 54, now 55, now 57, now 59, 60, and stream. End it.